Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the special City Council meeting to order for October the 8th. And Madam Clerk, roll call and posting of the agenda.
Councilmember Turan,
Here.
Councilmember Madrigal,
Here.
Councilmember Basua,
Here.
Councilmember Valenzuela,
Present.
Councilmember Perello,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem McDonald,
Here.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Here.
We have a quorum, and the agenda for this meeting was posted in the City Hall Bulletin Board on September 26, 2024.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're item B. Please join me in saluting the flag of the United States of America. And Mayor Pro Tem, can you lead us in?
Thank you. Please place your hand over your heart and join me in saluting the flag of our nation by saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Our next item is item C, appointment item, City Manager Department. Appointment item, presentation of the UCLA Chicano Study Research Center, citywide survey in the well-being of young adult residents of Oxnard. Recommendation the City Council receive and file the presentation of the UCLA Chicano Study Research Center and citywide survey on the well-being of young adult residents of Oxnard. And we have Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to introduce briefly this item by just stating that the purpose of tonight's special City Council meeting is focused on receiving the results of these UCLA studies, to listen to the presentation, to hear it, to ask questions, to understand what the data tells us today. We will have many work sessions in the future where we focus on preparing plans and solutions, and that work will require multiple and various partnerships throughout the community. So I want to introduced Professor Veronica Tariquez. I'm going to read from her official bio. It's rather brief, but you'll get a real sense. Professor Tariquez is the daughter of Mexican immigrants, born and raised in Los Angeles County. She is now a sociologist whose research focuses on social inequity, civic engagement, health, and youth transitions to adulthood among Latinx and other diverse populations. She brings to her work extensive experience working with a broad range of community stakeholders, having partnered with youth, labor, arts, education, health, and local government institutions. Her research agenda seeks to respond to contemporary political, economic, immigration, environmental, and social crises affecting Latinx and similarly situated populations. She is also besides for being the director of the UCLA Chicano Studies Research Center, she's also a professor of urban planning and Chicano and Central American Studies at UCLA. She received her doctorate in sociology at UCLA, her master's degree in education at UC Berkeley, and her bachelor's degree in sociology at a small school in Boston called Harvard. During the 2021 academic year, she served as a fellow at the Stanford Center for the Advanced Studies in the Behavioral Sciences. Her research has been published in the American Sociological Review, Social Problems, Social Science and Medicine, Community Development, Education Policy, Gender and Society, and other peer-reviewed journals. An expert in participatory action research, she has co-authored with colleagues and students over 40 widely disseminated research reports on labor, community, and youth organizing. Much of her scholarly work has implications for policy affecting Latinx, immigrants, and other low-income communities of color. In 2021, She received the American Association of Hispanics in Higher Education University Faculty Award and the American Sociological Association Award for Public Sociology in International Migration. So while those credentials weren't enough, I want to say that the primary reason that I sought out her work for Oxnard is that throughout her career, her work has been infused throughout and consistently with organic empathy. I knew that she would deliver to us a report that would be not only objective, but it would not judge our community, but instead it will help us springboard into the future. So with that, I will ask her to come to the podium, make her own introductions, and then begin the presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Nguyen, can I share a couple of comments before she starts?
You are the mayor.
Doc, hold on, Doc, you can come up, just, I have about maybe a minute or so. I just wrote a couple of notes, and I want to thank the city manager, Mr. Alex Nguyen, for sharing those remarks. But I'm so happy, Doctor, that we're finally here tonight, because I wrote a couple of notes I want to read because I don't want to miss anything that's important. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember attending the UCLA Chicano Study Research, quote, Thriving Youth, that was a launched survey project at Oxnard College back in February of 2023. The survey was conducted through the UCLA Chicano Studies Research Center in partnership with the City of Oxnard, Oxnard College, MyCob, Cause, and Future Leaders of America. Oxnard College leaders were interviewed, and City of Oxnard leaders were also interviewed. The acting president, Oscar Cobian, and I saw Oscar come in, he was there. There, Oscar, how are you? And Dr. Power of the Clínicas del Camino del Real, Supervisor V.N.A. Lopez of the 5th District, Councilwoman Gabby Basua was one of the ones, and Alex Nguyen and myself, we were interviewed. The kickoff was very, very well attended with the community members and able to learn more about the survey, as well as to providing feedback to the doctor for the study. So we're here tonight to hear from the UCLA Chicano Studies, and welcome to all. I see a lot of people here today, leaders, elected officials, school officials, recreation people, and our police department and our staff here from the City of Oxnard. Welcome. On behalf of the City Council.
Thank you, City Council members. Thank you, City Manager Nguyen. It's a real honor and pleasure to be here tonight, working on the study with Oxnard College students, CSU Channel Island students, and UCLA students from Oxnard has been a real pleasure and a real inspiration. You've got a vibrant community that is invested in the well-being of its young people, and you've got young people who really want a better future for themselves and their families. And so the study today, it's my hope, will help validate some of the things that folks already know about their community, will give us some numbers, some percentages that will hopefully inform the decisions of the City Council, will inform community partners, Oxnard College, the school district, local nonprofits, and the philanthropic community, because this is a community that deserves investments. So this study was really a collective effort. It was commissioned by you, the city, and it was spearheaded by the UCLA Chicano Studies Research Center, which is a 55-year-old research center at UCLA that is interdisciplinary. And it really involved the hard labor of Oxnard College students, CSU Channel Island students, and UCLA students from Oxnard, some of whom are here. The research team involved over 30 people. And so we were able to partner widely. Dr. Chavarria, CSU Channel Island professor, really helped with a lot of the study design. We have Dr. Sayed Camacho, an expert on education and Indigenous communities, also supporting us. Professor Arturo Vargas at UCLA Health, the School of Public Health, also assisted us. So we had 4 PhDs involved in this research project. And so we really wanted to do a thorough job because I firmly believe that Oxnard can lead the way in addressing the needs of its diverse, low-income youth population. So tonight, we're releasing 4 reports on Oxnard young people, and there's more coming. So that'll be exciting. The first one is kind of the main report, and we're mostly going to present on the main report, which is called Paving the Pathways for Oxnard's Future. We also have a report on Oxnard College. We'll lift up some data points from there. We also have a report on health insurance access for the immigrant population in this community. And then we have a report on the Indigenous population. I want to acknowledge Professor Dolores Ortiz, who might be watching us on TV. Oh, she's here. She made it. Oh, yeah. Because I know you were at a couple meetings. She really made the study possible at Oxnard College. So we worked together to train the students to conduct the research. And as the mayor noted, we had many partners in this project. We did extensive outreach in the community, and we also leveraged additional funds from the Irvine Foundation, the Diane Tamar Wilson Fund for the Study of Urban Poverty, the Latina Futures 2050 Lab, and CSU Channel Islands also helped support the study. So the study focuses on 18 to 34-year-old residents. And we started out by looking at what the census data would tell us, the American Community Survey data. Now, we know that that data is supposed to be representative of the population. It provides us some good indicators of what the population looks like. But we also know that the census undercounts low-income populations. It undercounts Indigenous populations. And so our survey really, I believe, did a good job in going into the community and ensuring representation from lower income young adults, including Indigenous residents. So we conducted a really great survey of Oxnard College students with much help from the college and Professor Ortiz. We surveyed about a third of the students there, and our data from the college are representative. We also surveyed CSU Channel Islands students who were from Oxnard, because we wanted to know about their experience and how they got there. We surveyed some high school students who were age 18, and a big part of the work was surveying residents in English, Spanish, Mixteco, and Zapoteco out in the community. And I'm going to turn it over to Jesus, one of the students.
All right. Okay. Good evening. My name is Jesus Maldonado. I was a former Oxnard College student.
Good evening.
Thank you. That has recently transferred over to CSU Channel Islands, and I helped collect some of the data. I'm going to briefly talk about how we collected survey data in the community targeting non-student Oxnard youth. To collect a large, diverse sample size, we conducted extended outreach. We initially launched some survey outreach in partnership with Clínicas de Camino Real in order to reach very low-income populations. Here we surveyed a lot of Spanish speakers and Indigenous residents. We also sought participants through a variety of community events such as the LGBTQ+ Pride Festival, Insect Festival, Father's Day Car Show, and Swap Meet Justice, to name a few. We also targeted locations with significant foot traffic. We also did some snowball sampling where we had people refer us to others. This was especially the case when we found out that our survey respondents were connected to coworkers or had other networks we could tap into. Some students also use their social media accounts to recruit eligible participants. This effort allowed us to get a large, diverse survey sample that had good representation of residents who had not gone to college. In addition to surveys, our research effort included the collection of 100 follow-up interviews with survey participants. Dr. Chavarria at CSUCI is leading the analysis of these interviews.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to summarize some of the key takeaway points from the study. So some of these might not be surprising, but it's good to have the numbers, the percentages. And what we documented was that a lot of the young adults in this community have worse outcomes than the average young person in California. This is a low-income population. Now, what we also learned was that many of the young people have hopes and dreams. They aspire to higher education and better jobs. However, they don't always have the information or preparation to achieve those goals. And so this is a real point of intervention because people want a better life for themselves and their communities. They just need support in getting there. And so this is an opportunity for educational, civic, and other organizations to help young people access pathways to higher education, living wage jobs with benefits, and community engagement. Now, I want to emphasize here that another subset of findings that may be considered and discussed with partners is the low levels of insurance enrollment in this community. And I know this is something really to discuss with the county and the healthcare providers. And then another important finding that we're going to lift up is the experiences of the Indigenous community here in Oxnard. So we know that this is a primarily Latino, Latinx, Hispanic community. And in our survey, we found that 23% of our survey respondents identified as Indigenous from Mexico primarily, but we also gathered survey data from some Central American immigrants. Now, this is not a population statistic. Like, we don't know for sure that 23% of residents are Indigenous. It might be higher, actually. But it's important to remember this because this community has some linguistic and economic challenges that need to be addressed. Now, in looking at this community, we also know that over a quarter of residents were foreign-born. And when we think about the foreign-born population, it's important to think about when they got here to the United States, because it shapes their trajectory and the types of interventions that are appropriate. So 43% of young people approximately who are immigrants arrived when they were just children. That's a large chunk of them. They're immigrant children who go to school here in Oxnard. That means that they end up learning the language, they end up fitting in with their student peers. So they're oftentimes very similar to their US-born peers, except one consideration: they may or may not be citizens. And so we have to attend to immigration issues that some of these children might face, especially as they get older. Another 1/5 of them arrive here as high school-aged young people, and they may or may not enroll in school. Some of them may come here primarily to work and take care of their family's financial needs. And we gotta recognize that there are some people, young teenagers, who come here to work. Another set of them do end up enrolling in the schools, and they often face challenges as newcomers, as English language learners, and they require particular interventions as teenagers. in schools. And then a good third or more arrive as adults. They come here to work, to rejoin their families, and the needs of this older adult immigrant population are different. They often have to do with accessing good jobs or attending to family needs, accessing healthcare. So it's good to know what this pie looks like, just as you move forward and think about interventions for the immigrant population. Now, one of the things that our study revealed, and again, is probably not a surprise to most residents, but young people in this community face a range of economic challenges. 41% of young people we surveyed were food insecure. That means that they indicated that they ran out of food before they had money to buy more. That's a large percentage of the population. Another chunk, 46%, had difficulties paying for the cost of housing. And this is a problem statewide, but it is felt acutely in this community. Another outcome that we found, and this one might be more surprising to folks because we don't often draw a lot of attention to young people's health because we assume that young people, young adults are healthy. In California, in the state of California, according to the California Health Interview Survey, 60% of young adults age 18 to 34 said they had excellent or very good health. This percentage was only 35% in this community. And so serious attention needs to be paid to the health of this population because as they get older, their health is probably not going to get better unless they have interventions. Now, another challenge is access to health insurance coverage. Now, in California, overall, about 10% of 18 to 34-year-olds lack health insurance. This percentage is almost twice as high in Oxnard. And there are various reasons for this, but one of them is that the cost is high. It is expensive to purchase health insurance. Some people may not know that they're eligible for Medi-Cal. And another reason that people cited as not having health insurance is immigration reasons.
Hello, everyone. My name is Montserrat Ruiz. I was born and raised in Oxnard, and I am currently a senior at UCLA. I transferred from Oxnard College last year, which is when I began working on this project. So according to the American Community Survey, almost half of young immigrants in Oxnard, 47%, lack health insurance. This is compared to the 18% of California immigrant residents that lack insurance. Many newcomers to Oxnard work in agriculture, manufacturing, transportation, and tourist industries. All these jobs require heavy labor that can result in higher risk of illness, injury, and other health concerns. That tells of a critical need for them to receive healthcare and access to prevent and reduce complications. The fact that many immigrants do not access health insurance poses a challenge for our community's public health as a whole. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Ambriz. I grew up in Oxnard and attended Oxnard College. Now I'm at UCLA completing undergrad. Many of our survey participants reported not understanding how health insurance works in regards to accessing information to sign up. Additionally, language is another barrier that our community faces. Many immigrants are Spanish monolingual speakers. Meanwhile, Oxnard's indigenous populations often speak Mixteco and Zapotec. A limited literacy is visible during the application process, and many may not understand what is being asked of them. There is a fear amongst the immigrant community in seeking health insurance due to legal status. They're unaware of Medi-Cal's change to now offer coverage to all qualifying regardless of status. Immigrants are more likely to hold low-skilled labor jobs, such as those belonging in the agricultural sector, where health insurance is not available.
Good evening, board. My name is Ivan Vega. Uh, I'm a resident my family and I immigrated to Oxnard from Mexico when I was 4, and I grew up in the South Wings neighborhood, specifically in the Cuesta del Mar apartments. And I attended Oxnard College and Ventura College before transferring to UC Santa Cruz. In January of 2024, California expanded health insurance coverage to all adults with Medi-Cal, regardless of immigration status, as long as they met the income requirements. Our findings show that the needs for healthcare agencies to prioritize intentional and broad public outreach to immigrant populations with education on how to enroll to Medi-Cal and how to access healthcare services is crucial. Currently, culturally responsive training tailored to the hard-to-reach populations in our community is essential. Healthcare agencies should expand pathways to hiring community health outreach workers who can provide services in the languages that meet our community needs and to optimally serve our community.
So this community could really benefit from health insurance outreach. But one of the places that does provide a lot of opportunities to get this type of information out to a broader audience is through civic engagement. And we ask a battery of questions on young people's civic engagement in our survey, but I'm just going to highlight 2 key points. One is that many of the young people, nearly 70% of students who went to the local public schools, were involved in some kind of civic activity in high school, whether it was student government, sports, the arts. And this provides a lot of networking opportunities for young people, opportunities to learn different skills, to get exposed to people who went to college. But what we found out is that after they finish high school, young people tend to be less engaged in their community. And so civic engagement opportunities can be expanded to really develop a broad set of skills among young people, but also allow for information to flow about healthcare or other opportunities that they may access. So young people could be a bit more networked in this community beyond their social media networks. Now, one of our really striking findings was that, and perhaps not surprising, that only a small percentage, a relatively small percentage of residents have a bachelor's degree. So among 25 to 34-year-olds, just over 1 in 5 of young people have a bachelor's degree. This is much lower than the percentage for the state of California. And we're not blaming the city of Oxnard or the school districts for this percentage. A lot of people come to Oxnard from another country, maybe not having access opportunities to go to higher education, or young people experience a lot of challenges that prohibit them from accessing higher education. So this is a real challenge, but it also provides an opportunity. What we do know is that the young people who attend the local high schools do enroll in community college at particularly high rates. So 41% of the local graduates enroll in community college, whereas this percentage is 25% for the state of California. So there's a difference here. Now, the problem is that our local graduates are enrolling in 4-year universities at lower rates. And so we have to think about how to support local students to go directly into a 4-year university, or really help the Oxnard College students and other community college students who reside in the city to access pathways to four-year universities or good jobs that provide a living wage and healthcare. So young people are pursuing higher education, and that's an important point to highlight.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tracy Huang, and at the time of the survey last year, I was a student at Oxnard College who helped collect the surveys and enter data. I have now since transferred to UCSB, and I'm currently studying sociology. As you know, Oxnard College plays a vital role in our community by providing affordable higher education. Many of us who attend OC are first-generation college students. Our report shows that only 14% of students have a parent with a bachelor's degree. This means that most students cannot rely on their parents to navigate higher education. We often need assistance in processes such as applying for financial aid, choosing courses, and transferring to four-year institutions. Oxnard College is reflective of the community it serves, and a significant number of Oxnard residents struggle economically. Many students contribute extensively to their families. They work to pay the bills and take on significant family responsibilities, including taking care of siblings, parents, elders, and other people. It is therefore probably not surprising that most students are enrolled part-time, while only 28% of students are considered full-time students. Our survey results also indicate that 69% of students expected to achieve a bachelor's degree are higher. While you see here that many members of the Oxnard College research team have since transferred to a four-year university, only 6.2% of students at Oxnard College actually transfer. While students reported high educational ambitions, we should note that more than half of the respondents also reported difficulty passing the required courses for their associate's degree. This gap between student goals and ambitions highlights the need for better support systems. It's not that students lack interest. Our findings suggest that students simply need more guidance and resources in setting and meeting their goals. Thank you.
So transfer rates from community colleges to four-year universities are dismal across the state. This isn't a problem that's unique to Oxnard College. So I just want to underscore that community colleges need more resources and support to assist their students so that they achieve their dreams. Now, I think Oxnard College has an opportunity, if properly resourced, to be a shining light, to be a model school, because we know the school serves very, very low income students. And that requires more resources, more support, more innovative approaches to addressing students' diverse needs. And we do know that there's outstanding college professors at Oxnard College who are invested in the students. Now, many of the young people, not just the college students, do expect to achieve a bachelor's degree. These percentages do not reflect the reality of the community. And so we really need to think through what it takes to make sure that young people achieve their dreams. One of the things we asked young people who did not want that college degree is why are you not pursuing or interested in a bachelor's degree? And one of the top reasons they gave us was that they need to take care of children or other family members.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Dr. Karina Chavarria. I'm an associate professor in sociology at CSU Channel Islands. So in terms of our young people's experiences with challenges in completing their educational aspirations, many of our young people, right, find themselves providing care for their family members. And many of them don't actually get compensated for this work within their families. This family care work significantly interferes with pursuing their educational and job opportunities, especially for our young women who disproportionately take on the responsibilities of care work at home. So the rising cost of childcare and insufficiently available safety nets hamper our young people's success. The care, particularly among undocumented family members, can pose significant challenges for many Oxnard residents. And in order for us to advance, right, our young adults' utilization of available educational and job opportunities, we must provide strong safety nets for family, particularly for those families where they are unable to access available resources. Thank you.
Now, young people are carrying a lot of responsibility in this community. They're taking care of their family members. Some are going to school, and many are working. So 3 out of 4 residents are employed. This is higher than the state average. 70% of young people the same age are in the workforce. So these are young people who take jobs. Now we have to think about how they might access even better jobs. So in Oxnard, the top industries that young people are employed in are retail trade. Those tend to be lower wage jobs without much career advancement. Agriculture, so that's a huge employer, as you all know. There's young people also involved in healthcare and social assistance, most often in the lower paid jobs, so there's an opportunity to move them up the ladder, and then in restaurants and bars. So those are the top 5 industries that employ young people. And young people overall have low wages. There's a small percentage that are getting paid below the minimum wage, so that's a problem. Just about a quarter are getting at the minimum wage, and another 30% just above the minimum wage. So one of the things to track over time is, if are young people's wages getting better? We ask young people what they want to do in the future in terms of their jobs. And a third of them, just over a third of them, said they didn't know. They didn't know, okay? So this speaks to the importance of showing them possible career options. Another 18% said they want to stay in their job. And some of those were people who already had a bachelor's degree, so that's good. But there were other folks, other young people who were in very low paid jobs. And one of the concerns was that some of these young people think they have no other option, and they hope to keep that job, whether it's in agriculture or in transportation or in tourism. The alternative for them, they think, might be unemployment. Then there's another 47% who listed a job that they wanted in 5 years. And some of these jobs, the majority of them actually, required a bachelor's degree. Many of these young people, however, were not on the pathway to achieve that bachelor's degree. So we have to think about what kind of career advice and educational advice these young people are getting. So they are aspiring to jobs that in some cases are good jobs, but they may not have the support and training that they need. And so career guidance is really critical here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarai Torres, and I was born and raised in Oxnard, California. When I first started this project, I was actually an undergraduate, and now I am a graduate student at UCLA in the Chicana, Chicano, and Central American Studies program. Some participants we interviewed shared that their primary means for accessing work was via staffing agencies, which channel workers into low-paying jobs with limited benefits. Oxnard's young adults need exposure and access to networks where they can access jobs that offer good pay and benefits, and where they can also have guidance in applying to those available positions in the city. Through interviews, we also identified that Oxnard young adults age 18 to 25 need assistance with understanding the types of benefit jobs offer, including a 401k, pensions, and health insurance, as well as how to go about enrolling in these benefits once they are employed. High schools and community colleges need to strengthen their workforce development programs so that young adults are well-versed in navigating available job opportunities in the city of Oxnard. Thank you.
So we asked our survey respondents about their interest in Oxnard College's Employee Pipeline Program. This is a program that sought to link up local residents to jobs that provide living wages and health benefits. And this program was offered in English and Spanish, and it guaranteed people who complete the course an interview with a local employer. So we asked the respondents, are you interested in this program or something like it? And the majority said yes. They're interested in further training. Whether or not they want to go to a four-year college, many are interested in some kind of training that provides them to local jobs. This is important. And what we did not expect was that the community college students were the most enthusiastic about this program. Many of them said they want to transfer to a four-year university, but then they were also interested in local jobs that provided better wages than what they were getting at the time and healthcare benefits. So this speaks to potential interest in interventions that provide job training and local placement of residents to good jobs with healthcare benefits. All right, so now we're going to close with just some information about the local Indigenous community because we felt that this is a community that is often underrepresented in research, and we actually got a large enough sample to understand some of their experiences.
Good evening, board members. My name is Yesenia Gonzalez. I am an undocumented Indigenous woman and the daughter of 2 farm workers. At the start of the project, I was a student at Oxnard College while being an organizer in my community. As a Zapoteco woman, I was always aware of the large Indigenous community here in Oxnard. Our survey shows how it is diverse. We are not only Mixteco and Zapoteco, but we also have Purepecha, Maya, Otomi, Navi, and other Indigenous groups. This helps us know which other groups to keep in mind when providing resources to the large Indigenous community we have here in Oxnard. In the next slide, the graph shows how more than half of the Indigenous population, 54% of survey respondents, did not have the opportunity to graduate high school. Our communities face a lot of financial hardship, and because of this, many Indigenous youth have to support their families at such a young age. Bringing us to the next slide, in this slide we are able to see the drastic difference there is among wages when it comes to Indigenous and non-Indigenous population. Indigenous people are more likely to be paid below minimum wage, and about half of our Indigenous survey respondents barely made the minimum wage compared to 18% of non-Indigenous respondents. Our report shows that Indigenous residents disproportionately face other financial hardships like food insecurity, housing insecurity, or poor access to internet. You can read about these in the report. Finally, our report shows that the Indigenous people are more likely than non-Indigenous people to strongly agree with the statements that they are treated with less respect than others the same age, and that people like me are called racially insulting names. I not only have seen, witnessed, but I've also lived how Indigenous people have been belittled here in Oxnard. There's a lot our community can do to foster a welcoming environment for all. Thank you.
No clapping, please. Thank you.
So we have some very general recommendations, and we're going to leave it up to you and the community partners to really think through the nuts and bolts of how you might be able to support and enhance opportunities for young people in the community. And of course, we're here to analyze more data, to share more in-depth research findings. We're happy to do that. And we hope that this is helpful as you move forward. So one of the opportunities for the local schools is to really encourage students to pursue four-year university after high school. there's a higher and hopefully increasing proportion of graduates who complete the A through G requirements to go directly into a four-year school. And this, I know it might seem financially challenging for young people to pursue four-year college, but the schools could couple this with information about financial aid options. Local high schools could also strengthen the workforce readiness program, including explaining to students how they might be able to access healthcare and healthcare through jobs. We were surprised by the number of interview respondents who did not know that some jobs can provide them with healthcare. And then the other opportunity is for the local high schools to continue building on their track record of offering quality civic engagement and extracurricular programs. And some of this could be done in partnership with local nonprofit groups who have a track record of building young people's leadership, supporting them in being great athletes or artists, and so forth. So the high schools could be a hub for accessing other opportunities aside from the ones that they offer at the school themselves. For Oxnard College, we recommend, and everybody does this, so this isn't new because all of the community colleges face this problem, but really strengthening policies and practices that increase transfer rates to four-year colleges. And I know there's a lot of technicalities with figuring out what courses apply and don't apply and what's needed to transfer to different schools, but it could be further strengthened, and Oxnard College could perhaps one day be a model of best practices. The other thing that Oxnard College can do is strengthen its career training programs. This could be the employee pipeline program or other programs that it has that really link up students to good paying local jobs. Good paying local jobs that provide opportunities for career advancement, that provide healthcare. And then the school could also continue expanding its role in facilitating networking and civic engagement. Now, there's some community organizations and health agencies that are doing a good job in serving the community. They're just not serving enough of the community. So there's an opportunity to seek outside investments, maybe even state funding for some of the programming that's being done well and should be brought to scale in this community. And then we recommend that philanthropic organizations invest in this community, whether it means developing a pooled fund or really going after donors who will care about and invest in this community. A lot of the people who live here also end up working outside of the community. So there's a way to think about a regional plan that invests in Oxnard. And then finally, there's plenty of opportunities, I hope, to support Indigenous residents by providing multilingual programming, by preparing the young people who are multilingual to access jobs that pay them for their multilingual skills, and really local government agencies, private agencies must take strong steps to combat anti-indigeneity, the exclusion and discrimination of the Indigenous residents. This could be done in the K-12 schools, this could be done in the community, and this could be done by private employers. And so that's it. We're open to questions, and I want to thank you all. I want to thank the managers, the people who are really managing the students on the ground, aside from Dr. Chavarria. Megan Salas is here, who was OC graduate and really managed a lot of the work. Ivan did a lot of the student managing. Jose Negrete, who was a master's student from Oxnard, was doing a lot of work here. And so we're really grateful to all who supported the study, the community partners, and to the city who funded it. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Now we can clap. Thank you. Good job. Veronica, I want to thank you for an excellent presentation, and all the students that spoke today. I think this is extremely important. I had the opportunity to read your report, and I believe that it is something that we can go ahead and look at. But before we make any more comments here, I have some speakers that like to speak at this time. Hannah Quiroz. Is Hannah Quiroz here? And then followed by Angeles Ariano. Hannah Quiroz.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hannah Quiroz, and I'm the Development and Communications Associate at Future Leaders of America. To begin, I want to thank the City of Oxnard for investing in this research study, and thank UCLA and the students who worked hard to collect the data, as well as all the partner organizations. While I don't think that much of the information that was presented today comes as a surprise as a lifelong resident of Oxnard and a young person who's faced many of these issues, I am truly grateful for the city to recognize this and invest and commission this study to really make it a priority to invest in young people. I understand this meeting today was only to present the data and receive recommendations from Dr. Terriquez. Still, I hope the results of this study will not only inform our city's leadership of the needs of young people in Oxnard, but really urge you and urge everyone in Oxnard, but especially our city council, to take action now and invest more in the areas of need identified by this study. Thank you.
Thank you. And Angeles Ariano. You got 3 minutes, by the way. And that's going to be followed by Megan Salas, excuse me.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Angeles Agredano, and I'm currently a CYLP fellow partnered with Future Leaders of America. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the City of Oxnard for investing in this vital research study by commissioning the UCLA Chicanos Studies Research Center to thoroughly examine the challenges facing our young adults. The City Council has shown a deep commitment to understanding the underlying issues impacting our community. This study not only sheds light on the obstacles young people face in terms of education, employment, and health, but it also provides a roadmap to meaningful change. The findings highlight the importance of working together across educational institutions, businesses, and local organizations to create pathways for success for our youth. I am especially encouraged by the efforts today to provide this population and recognizing that the future and prosperity of Oxnard is closely tied to the well-being of its young residents. So thank you to the City Council for investing and for our researchers and to our PhDs, as well as the 30 people who helped in the research, for taking proactive steps to address these inequalities and for seeking solutions that will empower our community for the next generation. And I hope to see continued efforts and collaborative action inspired by this study. And I am optimistic about the positive impact this will have in the future of Oxnard. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Megan Salas, followed by Cynthia Salas.
Good evening, Council. My name is Megan Salas, as already mentioned. I'm here today as the youth organizer with Future Leaders of America. However, I do want to highlight, as already mentioned, that I did have the privilege of actually working with these youth, and it was a big group of us, and I'm really proud to finally have the data out here because it was not easy work. It was hard work actually getting individuals, because this was something that that people did not actually believe was sponsored by the city. They were like, no way, the city would put in this much money. This is a scam. And it's not. And the results are here. And as mentioned by my colleague, a lot of the data for us is not super like innovative, it's not super out there, not crazy. Like this is stuff that as residents, we were kind of like, yeah, this is kind of obvious. But now we have the data to actually prove it. Now we can use that data and actually work together. I know for the nonprofit that I work with, we would love to continue working with Oxnard College, with the city. Angeles is actually one of our fellows from Oxnard College. So I'm hoping that this data will continue to allow us to do this type of work and just really to offer our young people opportunities where they can continue to grow. For instance, half of these students that presented tonight, thank God for this project because they were able to get paid and go to school, and we were able to accommodate their hours, and they were able to do meaningful work. And now look at them, like half of these students have transferred, and I'm really proud to see the work. I was really proud to be part of the project, and I thank the city for being the pilot on this, that we were able to implement this in other cities as well. So thank you so much for everything, and I hope the city just continues to put that emphasis on young people. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let me see, Cynthia Salas, excuse me. Cynthia?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia Salas. I'm here as a candidate for Oxnard School District Area 1. My comments as a private citizen, I want to thank Dr. Terriquez, I think I said your name correctly, for the efforts that they spoke of today. I do want to share that there is an initiative called Community Schools initiative that was rolled out by the governor, and I think this is an opportunity for all educational leaders that are here presently to come together and start talking about what are those possibilities to bridge those gaps. As the doctor shared, this is not new information. Those of us that have worked in public service understand the inequities around healthcare. As the previous equity service manager for the Behavioral Health Agency of Ventura, a lot of the statistics align with what we were seeing in terms of access to services, challenges in regards to culturally responsive care. But when we look at specifically at the needs of students in the schools, without the basic needs met, any student provided with all the resources necessary cannot be expected to thrive in an environment that a student can't be part of because those basic needs are not met. I seriously love the fact that this was brought before a city forum, and in this way, putting out the charge for all educational leaders, city leaders, and county leaders to have a meeting and discuss how can we overlap and braid our resources to support the needs of the students so we can eliminate a lot of the gaps and challenges that we have today. I think that every person in this room is a specialty expert, and I know that we have the answers for the solutions that we're looking for in resolving this inequality in education that's perpetuating that cycle of poverty. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Chavez Jr., followed by Roy Prince.
Good evening, Council, Oxnard residents and staff. Daniel Chavez Jr., a lifelong resident of the city of Oxnard. I'm here as a resident as well as a candidate, not VCOE, my employer. But I wanted to say thank you for the presentation because as the presentation was going on and I was listening to the speakers, I was sitting here thinking and reflecting on my own upbringing of growing up in South Oxnard. And many of the kids that I have worked with over the past 10 years in education. And one of the things that I remember from my own upbringing was about that food insecurity, was about the high costs of rent. You know, I was one of 4 boys in a single parent household, my mother working 2 jobs, minimum wage at that time, $7.25, $8.25, little by little going up. Still made too much to qualify for government assistance, but didn't make enough to be able to survive in our economy. That was, I'm 35 now, that was years ago, and we're only seeing that that problem is still existing in our community. As we were hearing through that presentation and we were talking about that there is opportunities here in our community. One that stood out to me was the opportunities with Oxnard College. When we see that the transfer rates between Oxnard College, Ventura College, and Moorpark College had the highest transfer rates to a four-year university, but keep in mind, they also received the most funding out of the three campuses. That's a problem when we want to get our community of the largest city to be able to transfer to the four-year universities. One of the things that I would say, and I'm not speaking on behalf of Oxnard Union High, but I will say is that I had the opportunity to view their career programs at the different high schools. They're great programs. I wish those programs were around when I was a student, because it is preparing students to go into the medical field, into law enforcement, into the hospitality, and so forth. These are programs that we need, but as previously said by the previous speaker, it's a community that we need to bring together and have that conversations, from our elementary school districts all the way to our community college districts, to be able to support our families. But it also means that we need to get our city involved as well as those local organizations. It's an ecosystem of our community, and when one of those pillars fall, our entire ecosystem just crumbles. So I'm very happy to see this. I look forward to seeing what comes further from the research, from the conversations, and very optimistic of what Oxnard is going to look like in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Roy Prince, followed by Dolores Ortiz. Roy Prince.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
And staff and the public. My name is Roy Prince. I live in Oxnard. And I really want to thank the presenters and the professors and the students who spoke this evening and shared this valuable information with the community and with the council. I have long been concerned about, and the city manager, Mr. Nguyen, has talked about this issue, that we have the largest population in the county by far, and yet we have the smallest institution at Oxnard College. And apparently the money follows the students. So our students have to travel to get the kinds of classes in medical fields and other fields that are higher paying, and it's a burden on a population that has less wealth, as evidenced by the report. So some of you know, I've already spoken about this to some of you, that I feel like there's an inequity in the community college system that favors Moorpark College and Ventura College, and by that leaves Oxnard College as the least favored. And I think some of the evidence that was presented this evening bears that out. And so I encourage the council and the city manager and the population, really us, the people of Oxnard, to stand up and do everything we can, demand, show up, volunteer, to specifically address this issue of the inequality. We should have the largest population and the largest community college, therefore getting the most money. And we know that money makes a difference. Look at how beautiful Moorpark College is, and how beautiful Oxnard Ventura College is, and not so much for Oxnard College. Thank you very much for hearing my comments this evening, and again, thank you to UCLA and the students and staff at UCLA for helping us bring Oxnard, bring educational awareness and opportunity, the vision, the understanding for the opportunity that we have here in Oxnard. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dolores Ortiz, followed by Eduardo Huerta.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I first want to say thank you to the city for, funding the study, to the UCLA team, Dr. Deriquez. everyone that's been thanked here for carrying out this study, but especially the students. Honestly, it's so emotional for me to see my students that are not my students. They are the UC's students now and going to grad school. It's just a point of pride and just an amazing feeling. And I wanted to just share a couple of updates because the data was collected in 2023, and I know, folks are watching, they're gonna rewatch, we have a big crowd here. So I wanted to provide a few updates from the college's perspective. So just to share, we are engaging in a transfer-intensive initiative through the Aspen Institute with CSUCI, and our students in that program, will actually stay in the dorms there. So, there's like these very bright spots ahead. We've recently announced our certificate program, a new certificate program in logistics, working with the Navy and the Port of Hueneme. And that's the kind of local program that we need, right? Obviously, there's lots of challenges to getting these things to happen. We've also recently been approved for a bachelor's program, so a 4-year bachelor's degree in dental hygiene to be offered at Oxnard College. And then I know just from word on the street and social media, because there were some kind of teasers for this special meeting tonight, something that I've been contacted, in addition to teaching sociology, I also am the academic senate president at Oxnard College. So folks have contacted me about this 6.2% transfer rate, and I just wanted to provide a small bit of context that that's a 2-year transfer rate, but over 2/3 of our students are part-time students. So to give you a little context, our 4-year transfer rate most recently, so that would be students in 2019, is 20%. 1 in 5, right? But that's a 4-year transfer rate for our mostly part-time students for all of the economic, family obligations, work obligations, reasons that are detailed in the report. And then lastly, I would like to say that I agree with our community leaders, members, that we need locally trained healthcare workers who intern in our high needs community with our high needs community members in a multilingual fashion. I hope that we can all work together to invest in future programming in the area of healthcare in the city of Oxnard. Thank you.
Thank you. Eduardo Huerta, followed by Juan Vasquez.
Council, good evening. How are you guys? Well, doesn't this remind you guys of Carmen Ramirez, huh? I mean, what a way of dedicating a night for her and her, her traditions and her service, Honestly, this is something that really touches my heart because Gabe, we went head to head on issues like this behind Chief Jason Benitez when I landed at Radio. I mean, obviously, Mixteco community, to the due circumstances that my family ran into with your council and the county, we decided to step back a little bit and tackle down the system in a different way. Painting myself as a farm worker, a child of a farm worker, and really, Gabe, you really attacked, just like Raperlo, when I ran for office, you guys attacked my educational system because you guys dissected me as a threat. And so honestly, you guys are well aware of your mistakes, to the point that, you guys could have helped me progress and be successful in this community and really help you guys with your work, but you guys decided to take a different stand. I stand here for young adults that really are standing up against adults that have been here and lived off taxpayers' monies, resources. It took a lot for me and Carmen to really build a system for you guys to really, really help this community. It's unfortunate that we have to have UCLA come down here and educate you guys when you guys attack citizens and say that we're not educated enough. And Bert, you know that I'm talking to you specifically. I never came to you guys as a challenge, but you guys went out there and badmouthed me, said I was crazy. You guys did a lot of things. So I hope this serves you guys as a lesson learned. These are students. You don't choose a threat and say there's a threat to society when it's your mistake. You just don't do that. If I could bring the governor here to talk to you guys about this, I would love to do it. That's how much authority I have over this issue. I'm not being authoritative. I've never wanted in your office. I've always been polite. Mr. McDonald, you associate with the Arts Center Columbus. You sit there with judges and, at your leisure time, I invite Sister Servants of Mary to do God's work, God's will. That's the whole point of For the People, justifying the issues that we need to love thy neighbor. That's where we're grounded. But Perillo, when I first ran for office, you're here at the Plaza Park with Gabe. Love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor. You know, this not love thy neighbor. So I'm just saying, if you guys want to sit there and look at your mistake, well, you guys sure did chose a person to realize we made a huge mistake in our educational system. Susan Carrasco, who ran the Career Center, Concilio, people that are getting knowledge for the same issues these people are speaking up for. And I have every right to say it. Sue me if I'm lifting up a false claim. But I say it's time. Gabriela, we go to the same church. Guadalupe, I could have introduced you to the priests, the pastors. It's easy. These are people that need your help. You have the authority. Same thing, Mr. Madrigal. I saw you at the Independence. You know, what are you guys doing out there dancing, parading yourselves during the political season? You guys should be out there serving the community because a lot of people work hard for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Juan Vasquez, followed by Anna Janina. Juan Vasquez.
Good evening. I just wanted to thank those who helped fund this study. It was really touching to hear the results. I feel like the actual study, I felt like it really reflected my own personal upbringing in Oxnard. I actually had transferred from Oxnard College to UC Santa Barbara. I remember at that time they gave us a statistic about the low transfer rate. And I had my own individual struggles when I was trying to finish UCSB, but I did finish and I got my bachelor's degree. Originally, I was double majoring in global studies along with sociology, but I graduated sociology. So, you know, hearing about this really inspires me to consider grad school, actually. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Anna DeGina. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. DeGena.
Good evening, Council. My name is Anna DeGena, and I am the superintendent of the Oxnard Elementary School District, or the Oxnard School District. And I just want to, first of all, thank the city for commissioning this study and UCLA for the presentation. I think that this is a very important conversation, and as a representative of our school district, I am excited to be able to enter into a more involved partnership with the city to see how we can begin to make some changes within our entire city. On a personal level, I am an immigrant to the United States, moved to Oxnard as a child, came from Ecuador as an emergent bilingual learner, and so the study and the students that we speak of and the students that we serve is extremely personal to me, and I know the role that education has played in my life and the difference that it has made. And so I thank once again the city and look forward to this being the very beginning of a long engagement conversation that will continue to help us address all of the many needs. Today, this morning, just as a matter of fact, we spent hours with the president of Cal State Channel Islands. Last week, met with the new president of Oxnard College. And though we serve students only through 8th grade, we realize that this conversation has to start at our level and that we have to work together in order to ensure that we're providing our students not just the academic that they need, which we know and acknowledge that we need to work to ensure that we're sending our students on the right path to the high school, but also that we are providing them all of those wraparound services and supports they need so that they're prepared to learn and to be in our schools. So thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to hearing from you so that we can further engage in more dialogue on how we're going to do this work together. So thank you.
Yeah,
Good evening.
thank you. Vanessa Valdez. Mm-hmm.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Vanessa Valdez. I'm an attorney here in Oxnard and Ventura County. I am an Oxnard native. I am also a daughter of immigrants, and so I have firsthand knowledge and experience of what it is to go through our education system here in Oxnard City. And I am optimistic and I am hopeful to see that our city is taking the initiative to try to address these issues, although it has been a long time coming. I am hopeful that these issues will be addressed. But I felt the urge to come up here and share that this need is still very much an issue that is not being addressed in our community. In fact, the issue, to me, is at a point where it is a crisis, where I found myself taking my children outside of the city of Oxnard. So although I am raising my children in Oxnard, I made a tough decision to seek an education for them elsewhere. And it is unfortunate. I love Oxnard and I plan to stay here and help my community. But I also wanted to quickly share how civic engagement is also and should be considered a top priority, because unfortunately, I didn't really know how to engage in our local council meetings. I didn't know how to make my voice heard. It took me a very long time, not until I was pretty much done with law school, that I really understood how we can use our local officials and have an impact in our community. So I strongly urge the council and our other community members to also try to come to an agreement or a consensus to address the issue of civic engagement. And lastly, I just want to give a thanks to the professors and the students for their presentation. It is truly an honor and a privilege to have the professors here, and it also is just more of an example of how our community needs mentors that look like us. And so that is also one key takeaway that I'd like to highlight. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, any other speakers on this item?
Mayor Zaragoza, yes, we do have one additional virtual speaker.
And I think we have Genevieve also. So we have the virtual speaker, and then we'll take Genevieve.
Oh, okay. Do you want to do? We'll do this first, and then the virtual speaker.
Okay. Okay. Mhm. Genevieve, you're up. Mhm. Thank you.
All right, cool. So much good information. Thank you so much to the presenters for all their work on this report. Genevieve Flores Jaro, Associate Director, Mixteco Indigena Community Organizing Project, and Trustee, Oxnard Union High School District. I think what I'm taking away from this report, like many previous speakers have said, these are all things that we already know anecdotally. Myself, having grown up in the public school system here, a proud graduate of Oxnard High School, I know my trajectory is different than a lot of young people here in Oxnard just because of certain privileges, right? Certain accesses that I had to resources. That being said, I hope that moving forward, and I say this in my role as head of a nonprofit here in Oxnard working with Indigenous community, in my role as trustee for Oxnard Union High School District, that we find ways that we can come together. We all have our own lanes, right? The city council has its lane, the school district has its lane, CBOs have their lane, and the community have their lane. So really, really want to encourage us to have these important conversations. How can we come together? How can we come together in support of Oxnard youth? A lot of my work at MyCOP has been around health access and health advocacy. And so it wasn't surprising to me to see the data about how many of our young people are not covered by Medi-Cal, not covered by Covered California. And that also goes to the county ecosystem that was referred to. With MyCOP, we do have Medi-Cal enrollment, but because of the state budget cuts, that program is done at the end of December. We're losing 7 Medi-Cal enrollers. That's 7 folks that speak Mixteco, that work with undocumented immigrant communities. And so really, really urging us to come together as a community to see, again, how can we pool our resources to support our youth. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have a virtual speaker then.
Yes, that's correct. It's Farron Dozier and Caldwell Williams. Please press *6 to unmute, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi. Good evening.
Yes, go ahead,
Hi,
please.
good evening.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. My name is Farron Dozier. I'm a retired Army Sergeant First Class. And on the line I have with me is Caldwell Williams, UCLA graduate of 1957. I don't know if you're going to give us both 3 minutes apiece or we're going to share the 3 minutes. But one of the things I want to say is when I read that press release about the study that was done by the students, I was so touched. as a Black male, retired Army, the human relatedness of that story, if we all look in our life, we could relate to things that was being shared about our cultures, our communities. And so I wanted to say that one of the things that I'm bringing to the community is a professional American Basketball Association team called the Ventura Orcas. I have a foundation for sickle cell trait awareness. Most people think that that's an African-American gene. However, the Latin community is number 2. And so with the education of having athletes playing sports who are also Latino descent or Mexican descent, they also need to know about their inherited genes because these genes can cause sudden death or health complications and they're not even knowing what their genotype status is. And I've been also able to teach emotional intelligence in LA Unified School District for 4th and 5th graders and middle school students. And one of the things that I've heard across the board is that sense of belonging as human beings and the relatedness. And when I put myself in that conversation of what we're having tonight, I could relate to that as a young child growing up, being a latchkey kid of 1978 and just going through my whole life of trying to find where I belong. And, I'm on my own. And these decisions that we make at such an early young age. And so we would like to come and participate, not just with our basketball platform that we're bringing to the community there in Ventura County, but use that platform to have a voice for the community to come and partner with us. And so I'd like to introduce Caldwell Williams, who's a Korean era veteran. He's 90 years old. And as I said, he's a graduate from UCLA, and he's a mental health educator. And I'd like for him to share his education, his knowledge that could help start to alter the experience, because the sense of belonging is not just what you do for us as people, but it's the experience of the belonging. And if you deal with that or you help people understand that they already belong to this community or to this society,
30 seconds.
That strengthens the confidence. Okay, so let me give it to Caldwell.
Okay, but your friend can also have 3 minutes if he's on the same line.